You know, in the Song of Songs, one of the most beautiful texts ever written, there's this verse that just perfectly captures spring. But what if it's more? What if, hiding right there in plain sight, inside this incredible love song, is a key, a literal operational schematic for how the entire universe was created? Well, today, we're going to explore how the book of Zohar does exactly that. It takes this one verse and deciphers it, not as poetry, but as a divine deployment script for the cosmos. Let's just sit with these words for a second. First, in the original Hebrew, Hanitzanim niru ba'artz et hazamir hagia v'kol hator nishma ba'artzenu. I mean, the sound alone is just so powerful. And in English, the blossoms appeared in the land, the time of pruning has arrived, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. It's just breathtakingly beautiful, right? It's a perfect snapshot of renewal, of life coming back. And honestly, on that level alone, it's more than enough. But the Zohar says, wait, look deeper. It invites us to go beneath the surface, what's called the pshat, and find the secret, the sod. And it proposes something incredible, that this isn't just about a season on Earth. It's the actual sequence for how reality unfolded. Each phrase, it corresponds to a critical phase in the 6 days of creation. Okay, let's really dive into this. Let's unpack how this one single sentence is seen as a precise, multi-stage blueprint that maps directly onto the biggest moments of our cosmic beginning. So, our journey into this cosmic code starts on day 3. Now, you gotta remember, the first 2 days were all about separation and definition, right? Light from dark, the waters above from the waters below. They set up the fundamental building blocks. But nothing had actually emerged yet. The world was kind of like a blank canvas, just full of potential, waiting for that first real stroke of life. Day 3, that's when the tangible world finally wakes up. The blossoms appeared in the land. According to the Zohar, this phrase is the activation code for day 3. The mystics explain it like this. When the Creator first imagined the universe, all the hidden powers, every single seed of potential for everything that would ever grow was basically invested directly into the earth. The earth was made into this amazing storehouse of life, just holding everything in a dormant state. So this phrase, the blossoms appeared, it's not just a description. It's the divine command that unlocked that storehouse. It's the moment the earth was finally empowered to reveal all the magnificent powers it was holding. And poof, out come the grasses, the herbs, and the fruit-bearing trees. But here's where we get to the deeper layer, the sod, the secret. This isn't just about plants. In the language of Kabbalah, what's really happening here is the full activation of the final Sephirah, or divine attribute called Malchut, which means kingdom. You can think of Malchut as the stage for the whole cosmic drama. It's the screen that the movie of creation gets projected onto. For the first 2 days, you had all this higher energy flowing, but it had nowhere to land, nowhere to express itself. Activating Malchut on day 3 is like turning on the stage lights. It provides the actual physical foundation, the life support system that everything else is going to be built on. Okay, so the stage is now set. The potential for life has been unlocked. But what does the system need now? It needs rules. It needs structure and rhythm. I mean, can you imagine an infinite explosion of growth with no limits? It would be total chaos, not a cosmos. Day 4 is where all that infinite, expansive energy of creation gets given form, order, and limitation. This is the big shift from just raw potential to a governed, predictable, and totally stable system. The time of the Zamir has arrived. Now, the Hebrew word Zamir is so brilliant because it's ambiguous. It can mean singing, which, totally fits the whole love song theme, but its other main meaning is pruning, like when you cut back a vine. The Zohar looks at this and says, forget the poetry for a second. Pruning is the real operational key to day 4. So why? Well, because day 4 is when God sets the sun, the moon, and the stars in the heavens to mark signs and seasons, days and years. Pruning is all about judgment, about defining boundaries, about creating order out of wild growth. It's the establishment of cosmic law. And right here, we find the secret to a stable universe, divine balance. See, the initial impulse of creation is understood as an act of pure chesed, this unbounded, infinite loving-kindness and expansion. It's the big yes of the universe. But a system of just pure, unrestrained expansion would collapse on itself instantly. It would just be formless energy. It needs a counterforce. Day 4 is the deployment of Gevura, the divine attribute of judgment, restraint, structure, and discipline. It's the cosmic no, the setting of limits. This pruning is the force that says the sun goes here,
The moon's orbit is this, and time is going to cycle in this way. It establishes the laws of physics and the rhythms of the cosmos. It's what makes the whole system stable and harmonious.
So, the stage is built, and the physics are all defined. We have a life-sustaining planet, Malchut, and a structured cosmos with predictable laws, Gevora. The system is stable, it's ready, so now it's time to populate it with something more than just plants. Day 5, this is the explosion of dynamic, animated, self-directed life. The silent world is about to find its voice. And the voice of the turtle dove. Okay, on the 5th day, the Torah tells us the waters start teeming with swarms of living creatures and birds take to the sky. The Zohar sees this direct link between the voice, a sound that signifies life and presence and interaction, and the sudden burst of what the mystics call nefesh shaya, a living soul or an animated life force. And this is a huge leap. The plants on day 3 are life, sure, but it's passive, it's rooted. The life of day 5 is active, it moves, it seeks, it procreates, it has a will and impulse. That voice is the symbol of this whole new dimension of animated being. And here, the Zohar shows us even more of the secret architecture. This explosive burst of life is powered by the Sefirot of Netzach and Had. In the Kabbalistic tree of life, these two are often pictured as the legs that drive the whole system forward. Netzach is all about endurance, victory, the drive to overcome things. Had is splendor, glory, the ability for detailed diversification. Together, they act like these cosmic engines that take the divine seed of life that's flowing down from above and they prepare it to become real. They're responsible for creating beings that can reproduce and fill the world with their splendor. This is literally the deployment of the biome. We've now reached the absolute peak of the creative week. The world is built, the laws are in place, it's teeming with vibrant, animated life. But the Zohar asks the biggest question of all. What is this all for? I mean, a beautiful functioning system with nobody there to appreciate it, no consciousness to see it. It's incomplete. The final phrases of our verse reveal the ultimate purpose, the whole reason for this cosmic project, the creation of humanity and the sacred rest of Shabbat, is heard in our land. Here, the Zohar does something absolutely brilliant. It splits this final clause into 2 separate events. The word nishma, is heard, points directly to the work of day 6, the creation of Adam. So why? Because humanity is the one creation specifically designed with the capacity to hear and to understand the divine word, to be conscious of its creator. And then the final piece, Bart Artsenu, in our land. That signifies arriving at the final destination. And notice the word. It's not just in the land, it's in our land, a space that is now perfected, completed, ready to be a dwelling place for the divine. This is the very essence of day 7, of Shabbat, that state of sacred rest and completion. And this is it. This is the climax of the whole schematic. The ultimate secret is that the universe isn't just some physical machine. It's an architecture for consciousness. It was built for a relationship. You know, when the Israelites stood at Mount Sinai to get the Torah, their defining statement was Nase v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. The Zohar connects Adam's creation directly to this unique human ability for nishma, for conscious, reflective hearing. The goal was to create a partner in creation. And this whole partnership culminates in Shabbat, that perfected state where the work is done and the line between creator and creation just dissolves into this perfect, harmonious unity. Shabbat isn't just a day off. It's the state where the divine presence can finally come to rest, in our land. So let's just pull back for a second and look at the whole sequence, this perfectly logical cosmic deployment. It starts with blossoms, activating the hidden potential of the physical world. Then comes pruning, which puts the laws and structure in place to govern that potential. With that stable framework, you get the voice, populating the world with dynamic, animated life. Then the whole purpose is revealed with heard, the introduction of consciousness to perceive and relate to it all. And finally, the entire project hits its goal within our land, the arrival at a perfected, stable state of completion and unity. It's just a beautiful step-by-step process. So why does any of this matter? Why does decoding a 3,000-year-old verse matter to us, right here, right now? Well, because the mystics teach a core principle, as above, so below. The blueprint for the macrocosm, for the universe, is the exact same blueprint for the microcosm, for you and for me. This isn't just some story about how the universe was made ages ago. It's a living map for how we create anything meaningful in our own lives. So to make this really tangible, let's look at it through a couple of modern metaphors. Okay, let's try the video game version first. Think of creation as the most incredible open-world game ever designed. Day 3 of the blossoms appeared. That's the moment the developer loads all the environmental assets, the landscapes, the textures, the forests. Day 4, the time of pruning. That's the physics engine going live. Gravity, the day-night cycle, cause and effect, it all gets coded in. Day 5, the voice of the turtle dove, populates that world with NPCs, the non-player characters, animals, birds, fish, all running on their own AI scripts. Then Day 6 is heard. That's when the player character gets introduced. That's you, the one being with consciousness who can actually understand the game's purpose and hear the developer's intent. And Shabbat, in our land, that's the final, fully rendered, bug-free game world. It's perfectly stable and ready to explore. Or, if you're more of an engineer, think of it this way. This verse is the master script for a multi-phase system build on a cosmic cloud architecture. Blossoms is the command that initiates the foundational life support substrate. That's the hardware. Pruning deploys all the regulatory systems and APIs. That's the operating system. Voice deploys the dynamic, self-replicating biome. Those are the software applications. Herd deploys the ultimate user interface, consciousness itself. And in our land means the system has reached its final, stable, production-ready state, fully integrated and working perfectly. You see, the mystics teach that this whole process, from raw potential to structure, to animated life, to consciousness, and finally to completion, it's not just a story about the distant past. It's happening right now, inside you. It's the natural process for how any new idea, any creative project, any relationship, any personal growth unfolds. You start with a seed of potential, you give it structure and discipline, you pour your life into it until it has a life of its own, you become conscious of its purpose, and you bring it to completion. So if this verse really is the blueprint for the entire cosmos, what does it mean that this exact same creative code is imprinted on your very soul? What magnificent world are you meant to build with it? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.